Welcome to our daily hit on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. I'm Scoot. Glad you're with us. For those of you who don't know me, if you're just getting this for the first time, we do hope you will subscribe. We've got a lot going on. We are just starting this YouTube channel. It's Scoot on the Air. See my fancy sign? Yeah, I'm going to get better signs, I promise. Scoot on the Air, SOTA. Just Scoot on the Air, YouTube. Hope you will subscribe to this. I have interview shows once a week, but this is the daily hit. And the daily hit is just either a rant or just a take on some of the daily news stories from the standpoint of a Maverick Moderate. Yeah, I'm a Maverick Moderate. I'm registered independent. I don't like the right. I don't like the left. They're both wrong. There are so many people who still identify themselves as Republican or Democrat, but they're really moderate. They're Maverick Moderates. They have opinion. You have opinions, but you don't filter everything through this myopic political perspective of the right or the left. And that's what this YouTube channel is about. It's about a perspective from the standpoint of a Maverick Moderate. And that's the way many of you are. There are moderate conservatives. There are moderate liberals. And then there are Maverick Moderates. And we're all in the middle. We're the ones that decide elections. There are not enough numbers on the right or the left to decide elections. We decide elections. And the number of independent voters, the number of people registering as independents around the country is skyrocketing. Even here in the state of Louisiana. I'm coming to you from my apartment in downtown New Orleans. Even in the red state of Louisiana, the registration of independents is rising. I also do a radio talk show on WWL, AMFMN.com. And all you have to do is go to the app, download the app, radio.com, and just type in WWL, and you'll find my show. It's on 1 to 4 in the afternoon, New Orleans time. So we've got a lot to talk about, but first I want to tell you that I've got a couple of interview shows that we've already done, and again, we're just starting this out. But I've got a great interview with a Bourbon Street dancer. Her name is Sable, and she takes us inside the mind of a stripper, an exotic dancer on Bourbon Street. Also, we talk about the politics of recent police raids here in New Orleans that in the name of cutting down on sex trafficking, they raided strip clubs. Strip clubs aren't the problem. Strip clubs are not a farm team for sex trafficking. The average age of a girl caught up in sex trafficking is 12 to 14. There's also been a big political push here in New Orleans to raise the stripping age, and in Louisiana, to raise the stripping age from 18 to 21. So you can fight for your country at 18. But you can't make a decision to dance until you're 21? Doesn't make sense. So I talk about that with her as well. I also ask her the weirdest thing a guy ever asked her to do. It's kind of funny. It did cost extra, but it's kind of funny. So I do these interviews over a meal because that's the one thing that we all have in common. And there's some great restaurants in New Orleans, so we do it from French Quarter restaurants. I also have an interview on this YouTube channel with Republican Congressman Steve Scalise. Now, Congressman Scalise and I don't agree on every issue, but I wanted to show that two people who disagree, two people who don't have the same political ideology, can have a civil conversation, because that's what's missing in America. And so over this meal at Antoine's restaurant, a historic spot in the French Quarter, we had this great conversation. And it was actually fun. And we talk about the stereotyping of liberals and conservatives and same-sex marriage and smoking pot, and talk about him being shot. Steve Scalise was the congressman who was shot. Does he blame Democrats? Does he blame Obama for being shot? There are people who blame Trump if anything negative happens. I really try to be fair on this Scoot on the Air YouTube channel, and sometimes being fair is really a struggle. And a lot of people take it wrong when you're just trying to be fair. But anyway, there's a lot on this channel. We'll do the daily hit every day. And then once a week, or about once a week, we'll be launching interview shows. And the one that's going to launch tomorrow between 1 and 2 tomorrow on Thursday is a great conversation I have with Amanda Shaw. She is a young Cajun country rock singer, songwriter, and one hell of a fiddler. And she is so damn cute. And it's a great, fun conversation. So look for that. You'll enjoy that. My conversation with Amanda Shaw, live from Oceana Grill in the French Quarter of New Orleans. But let's get to a couple of things that we have to talk about today. So Michael Cohen, President Trump's former attorney, is going to prison for 3 years. I doubt the president is going to pardon him, considering the way that they have talked about each other. What's really creepy is President Trump says so many incredibly wonderful things about people. And man, he turns on them like that. Think of all the people that he talked about. Rex Tillerson, who was Secretary of State. What a great man this is. What a great man Michael Cohen is. And boy, then they're just scum when something changes. So if President Trump says something really great about somebody, do you ever believe him anymore? I mean, even if you're a Trump supporter, you've got to see through this facade. I mean, even if he says something really positive, that doesn't mean he really believes it. And it doesn't take much for him to flip on you. It's crazy. And so now there was a deal with hush money that the National Enquirer, the owner of the National Enquirer, really close to President Trump, now they admit that they paid hush money for the purpose of influencing the election. Are the walls closing in? There's a lot going on. I don't know how much of this involves President Trump, but there is a lot going on. And only Trump himself right now really knows how much trouble he's in. If he's in any trouble at all. And if he's not in any trouble, why does he seem to be acting like he's so nervous? Why does he try to act like he needs to distract crazy things? So I don't know, we'll all watch it, and you'll get a view from the standpoint of a Maverick Moderate. And that's just kind of a term I made up. I made up that term after John McCain passed away, because John McCain was the Maverick. John McCain was a Maverick because he was courageous enough to reach across the aisle. John McCain didn't care about Republicans and Democrats, even though he was a strong Republican. John McCain cared about what was best for you and me, the American people. And that's what makes him a Maverick. Okay, I want to be a Maverick. I want to care more about what's best for this country than I want to care about either party. So call me a Maverick, call me a Maverick Moderate. And maybe you're one as well, and you didn't realize it until right now. So the other day on our Daily Hit, we talked about the controversy of the song, Baby It's Cold Outside. Is that a date rape song? It's a holiday classic, written in 1944. So in the song, this man is trying to get this woman to spend the night, or to stay over. I don't even know if it's spend the night, but he doesn't want her to leave. And he's telling her, don't go out there, baby, it's cold outside. I want you to stay. At one point, she wonders, what's in this drink? If that song were written today, maybe you could think about roofies. But this song was written in 1944. So that wasn't even an issue back then. So people are like making a big deal about that now, like this is some kind of a date rape song. This isn't a date rape song until somebody decided to make it a date rape song. And even then, it's still not a date rape song. Because if you really listen to the song, Baby, It's Cold Outside, she doesn't really want to leave. He may be trying to talk her into staying, but it's like she wants to stay. The only reason she doesn't want to stay is not because of what would happen if she stayed. She doesn't want to stay because she's afraid of what her mother, her father, her aunt, And the neighbors would think if she stays, because back in those days, single women didn't stay over with single men. So that is such a bogus controversy. And then after that, there was the controversy with the candy cane. A principal in Nebraska, elementary school principal in Nebraska, banned the candy cane from Christmas decorations because the candy cane turned upside down is a J that stands for Jesus. And the white is purity. And the red in the candy cane is representative of the blood shed by Christ on the cross. Okay. I never heard that before. I think somebody just made that up. There's one story that the candy cane was created because a choir master wanted the kids to do something to sit through the long nativity scene service, and they were fidgety and restless, and if they had this candy that they could suck on for a long time, it would help them get through it. I don't even know if that's true. But this idea that a candy cane is J for Jesus, that's absurd. The principal at the school in Nebraska was put on leave. And the school district said that is not reflective of our view of that secular display. And when you buy candy canes in the store, they don't come hanging upside down like a J. No, they come like this. Well, they come as it's a hook. It's like a staff. It's like a shepherd's staff. So that was ridiculous. Well, now, and this happens almost every year, now there's a new controversy about a nativity scene. This time in Woodland, Oregon. This nativity scene has been in this public park area for the last 30 to 40 years. But suddenly, 5 people complained, and it was moved to private property, which is not far from the public property. Okay, so the Constitution has a clause in it. First Amendment has a clause, the Establishment Clause. And it basically says that the government will not establish a religion. Now, I don't think a nativity scene on public property establishes a religion. And there's one Supreme Court ruling that says it's a recognition of a cultural phenomenon, and it's not inappropriate. But there was another Supreme Court ruling, both of these coming in the 80s, another Supreme Court ruling that said because the nativity scene carried glory to God for his son, Jesus Christ, because it included that sign, it was religious and inappropriate for public property. So there are ambiguous Supreme Court rulings. And I guess it's really up to individual municipalities to decide whether or not they're going to take that chance, or states, or any government entity. But here's what I find really interesting about this debate. You know, people love these controversies. They love to say, you can't do that. That's on public property. You can't do that. I am offended. You can't offend me. You can't put up a nativity scene. Think about the irony of all of this. I get it. The nativity scene should not be on public property. But here's the great irony. The nativity scene was moved from public property to really close by on private property. It's still in view. People can still see it. So for those who are trying to eliminate the image of religion, you can't do it because it was just moved to another location nearby, still in full view of the public. And for those who think it has to be on public property, no, it doesn't have to be on public property. It can be on private property. You still see it. But this is one of those cases, and I think this is an interesting trend in America, where people almost are more interested in having the debate than they're interested in really caring about what's being debated. It's another opportunity to participate in this spectator sport known as the Great Political Divide in America. It's a chance to say, You're wrong and I'm right. And I see it with so many debates today. The thing that's actually being debated becomes less important than people having a chance to get at each other going, you're wrong and I'm right. No, it shouldn't be on public property. Yes, it should be on public property. That's what becomes the focal point. People yelling at each other, not literally yelling at each other, but at social media, going back and forth. And people don't care about facts. They care about whatever confirms what they already believe. And they'll accept things that aren't factual, but they will make them seem like they're facts if it supports what they believe. And that's why we're in trouble. I mean, yeah, I think we're in a lot of trouble in America. I think we're going to get through this. Because if this country made it through 1968, which was a really, really turbulent year in this country, we can make it through 2018. And we will. But it's not going to be that easy. And the great political hypocrisy is the worst part of all of it. Did Trump say anything recently when the stock market was way, way down? No. So if you take credit when the stock market's up, then you got to take credit when the stock market is down, which is why you shouldn't take credit when it's up, because it may come down. And I'm not saying that Trump hasn't done some things that have sparked the economy, but the economy started improving under President Obama. And presidents don't have as much control over the economy as they would have you believe. There was a study done just the other day by Duke University. And 82% of the CFOs in the country said a recession is coming, maybe in 2020. Gee, that's re-election year. If the economy goes down, I guarantee you Trump and the Republicans are going to say, we don't have anything to do with that. It's not our fault. Well, then how can you take credit for it now? It doesn't make sense, which is why I'm a Maverick Moderate. I'm Scoot, coming to you from downtown New Orleans. We'll do the daily hit every day. This is a new YouTube channel. It's Scoot on the air, SCOOT. I hope you will join me and subscribe. And we have a couple of interview shows that are up, one with Steve Scalise, the other with the Bourbon Street Dancer. And we're going to upload a brand new video show tomorrow afternoon, I think between 1 and 2:30, with Amanda Shaw. And she is a singer-songwriter, great fiddle player. She is so much fun. She's quite a contradiction. She's sweet and she's sassy. She's innocent and she's sensuous. And she's a lot of fun. So that's going to be coming up tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scoot on the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel.